talking about the whole concept of feminism and how people perceive the concept or the idea of feminism and how comfortable we are talking about it in today's time. And we just started talking about how there are so many expectations being placed on women, a lot of unrealistic expectations in today's time. With passing years and passing decades, how the expectations just keep increasing. And also like how there are different perceptions regarding feminism. And it's I was telling her that how I look at it is, day by day when we talk about feminism, we're also focusing more and more just on gender inequality rather than talking about having a gender inclusive society, or probably having not just focusing only on gender but having an inclusive society in general. uh, and also probably focusing more on how it is important to feel comfortable being a woman in the society and how a woman can contribute more in the society. Talking more about that rather than just focusing on gender inequality. So, yeah. So you can go ahead and share your views.
Well, in India, if okay, so I've been to quite a few countries, and overall, I've spent time over like on two countries a lot more than just travel trips and all. Travel trips is something wherein you don't really understand what exactly is happening there on a day to day. But when you actually spend some time and stay there, and that is when you get to know that what exactly is happening. I have realized living in India and living in any other country at the same time, there's not much of a difference when it comes to feminism. Uh, the only difference is that we have the same rights, it's just we are not allowed to say those things. When you start saying it, then you become really strong personality in the society, and then people start saying that you're preaching feminism and everything. But to be very honest, it's not really feminism. It's
Becoming a
more like we
feminazis.
are exactly. So we all, then after that we all are labeled that, oh my god, that one, like this one is very strong and she's very bold. And then suddenly somebody who's actually talking about something which is right suddenly turns into something, oh my god, she's like this. And then so many rumors and so many gossips get attached to it. This has happened in India, this has happened outside India also. So we women don't really want a feminism society. What we want is equality. And then where is the equality? If we have a problem, we can't say it. If we say it, then we become very strong and we get outcasted from the society for that. So where exactly is the equality? At the same time, when a guy does something like this, when a guy talks about things like this, they have a problem, it gets heard, it gets discussed, it gets, it gets a publicity also at times. 11.
I don't know if how women are treated is necessarily like geographically dictated here. I never feel like it's like a specifically a British or an English thing. I mean, I'm lucky in a lot of ways because I'm surrounded by men that don't oppress me or try and manipulate me, or in a way I felt like I wasn't well versed in this topic because I consider my husband to be a feminist. He's always given me the choice. He supports me in whatever I want to do, even if he thinks I'm a crazy person, which he probably does quite a lot of the time. He wants me to be happy, and I mean, he is amazing. There's a reason I married him. When he found out I was pregnant with our first child, he said, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do? It's your body, it's your life, it's potentially your career that you're going to be sacrificing, or not sacrificing, but compromising." And I mean, I'm pro-choice, so that was also something I think we are more fortunate in this country than in other countries that, you know, that choice is more readily available to. I mean, with regards to like my friendship group, as I've become older, I've definitely narrowed it down, because I do feel that some women that were in my life were there to take down other women to make themselves feel better. They had certain insecurities, and if women around them, their peers or their friends, I mean, they weren't good friends, but they would take their friends down in certain ways where they felt lacking in their life because they weren't confident, they weren't strong, they didn't know what they wanted, and they also didn't realize certain insecurities that they had. And so, you know, I've just chosen to surround myself with people who are honest, people who are upfront, people, well, not just people, women, but people in general, women who can show weakness, because we all have moments of weakness. We all have our issues, we all have our days, you know, and you need strong women to build you back up again, to support one another, who trust you and you trust them enough to say, I'm struggling in this way, you know, I am feeling crap in my job, or I'm feeling terrible in my relationship, or I feel like I'm a bad mother, or my house is a mess, or my body, you know, we all have certain parts that we feel more insecure about, and I feel that it's important as a woman to be strong enough to show that when I have weaknesses, you know, it's strong to admit them. No one is perfect, and I have very little time for people who perpetuate this false level of perfection, like I was saying earlier, you know. Oh, I work full time, and my hair is perfect, and I have boobs, and my lipstick is wonderful, and I cook these elaborate meals every day, and I'm such a good wife, and I have a clean kitchen, and my children are perfect. That's poppycock. I have no time for that, because, I mean, maybe sometimes these things, the planets align and this happens, but it's not natural, and I don't think that it's healthy to encourage these levels of ridiculous expectations, because we are women, but we are not perfect. We're not aliens that can achieve everything. No one's perfect, and I mean, I'm definitely not perfect, for sure. Not at all.
So I think that is it. It's again, it's not about feminism. It's about equalism. Like if you are a man and if you're doing all these things, you brag about things and half the things you won't do, and that would be okay by the society and the people of the family and everything. But when it comes to women, they actually get pressurized for making sure everything around them is being taken care of. You know, every chore is done, every task is done at the workplace, or your house is all cleaned up, your clothes are all cleaned up, you are all dolled up, you have your hair straightened up and everything. Why the same thing is not implemented on the guys? It's like
I don't know.
yeah, that's why I said that it's pretty much the same on all the places we go. It just happens everywhere. It's just the level of freedom that you have to talk about it is just varies from country to country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like she mentioned, the fact that feminism should also be more about acknowledging those weaknesses that we have as a woman, and acknowledging the imperfectness that we have. Like it's okay, like both of you mentioned, it's okay to have to not be dressed properly. It's okay
Right.
to show up like in your pajamas or probably you don't have to look perfect, you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to do everything perfectly. You can have your weak moments, and it's just being human at the end of the day. Be it men or women, it's just being human. And rather attaching the term feminism, making it all about how I was talking to her also earlier, where I was telling about how feminism has become more and more about us women going out there and proving themselves, in the materialistic world, like achieving a lot of things for themselves. Because I have personally experienced this, where I contact on this particular platform where I contact a lot of women, and I ask them for their story, and like I encourage them to tell their story about how they have evolved as a woman and how they feel as a woman. And most of the time, and many times, I've got a response saying, I haven't achieved much in life. And I'm like, no, you have. I mean, why do you say that you haven't achieved much in life? I mean, you're probably a mother, you're probably a housewife, but it's totally it's so much to be. It's so much of a responsibility to be a housewife or probably a mother. And like we as women try to downplay our own responsibilities, our own duties, or probably the different roles that we have, because we're so occupied with the idea of this entire concept of feminism being related to just the materialistic achievements.
Mm-hmm.
It's just become more about that and about how you feel being a woman, or your weaknesses you that you have as a woman. And I wouldn't call it as a weaknesses like you mentioned. Everyone is allowed to be weak. Everyone is allowed to have a weak moment. It's normal. Like allowing yourself to be a human and experiencing different emotions, and like you said, those weaknesses are there because we as women are able to process more emotions than men. We
Obviously.
feel more emotions. So definitely, we should be given that space of, just existing there as a woman and, processing all those emotions and just contributing to the society in our own little way. It doesn't have to be just the materialistic achievements. And that's the problem I have with the whole concept of feminism. So yeah.
To your what you were saying, I would like to add a little bit into it. The fact why women feel that they haven't achieved enough, despite of doing everything that they have. I think it's how our society has built us from the beginning. If you remember, or I don't know if it has happened with you or not, but I've seen it happening around me while I was a kid. A guy who's not getting good marks is okay. That's fine, right? But the girl, she has to get good marks to get something from the family. So what I saw, like, just in the neighbors and just nearby. So a guy who came probably third or fourth in the class, or, on the board exam, he just barely passed and he got a motorbike, right? And a girl who studied really hard and was, throughout the year just reading and everything. And at the end of the day, when she passed the first division, or she became a topper of her school or something, despite of all that, the family says and goes ahead saying this thing that, you know what, you should just stay in the same school. You don't have to think, really high achieving thingies. You don't have to take science. You just continue with the arts or stuff like that. This happens in India. I don't know it has happened does it happen in UK or not, I'm not sure of. But I've literally seen these things. I've seen women leaving their dreams from the childhood, you know then, after a certain point, when you read psychology and everything, so you kind of get, more depth to these kind of situations that happens. So it's as per psychology, as per neuropsychosis, it says that when you are tend to leave your dream for some or the other reason, and especially if it is because of the family and the social pressure, after a while female tend to start, degrading themselves. Nobody has to go out of their way to say anything to them. We start degrading ourselves. We start thinking that this is not right, or whether I should do this or not, or what people are gonna say, what my family will think, what would I tell to my husband, oh, what my kids will think. So, a woman actually doesn't care about herself. She cares about the generations around her. She cares about her parents, her in-laws, then her husband, then her children, and if she lives enough, then the grandchildren. She is constantly thinking about everyone and how they will feel about the decision that she will make for her life.